međunarodnog prava kojeg zajednički organiziraju Alijansa civilizacija Ujedinjenih nacija UNAOC i organizacija Interreligious for Peace u partnerstvu sa Ministarstvom vanjskih poslova Bosne i Hercegovine, gradom Sarajevom, Međureligijskim vijećem u Bosni i Hercegovini te uz podršku Ureda rezidentne koordinatorice Ujedinjenih nacija u Bosni i Hercegovini. Ovaj događaj dolazi u vremenu kada je mir ponovo doveden u pitanje na brojnim mjestima u svijetu, od Europe do Bliskog istoka, od Afrike do Azije, od Ukrajine do Palestine, i upravo zato vjerujem kako naš zajednički poziv na mir ima dodatnu težinu i simboliku. Moja zemlja koja je preživjela razaranja i stradanja 90. godina, moj narod nad kojim je počinjen genocid, preduboko razumije cijenu rata, ali čini mi se i mnogo više od drugih cijeni snagu mira. Prije 30 godina sam, kao i većina mladih ljudi, sa puškom u ruci branio ovaj i znam šta znači rat. I zato danas još više znam koliko vrijedi mir. Zato ne govorim o miru samo kao ministar vanjskih poslova, već i kao neko ko je lično osjetio njegovu cijenu i ko zna da ga moramo svakodnevno graditi i braniti dijalogom, razumijevanjem i saradnjom. Naše iskustvo nas obavezuje da uporno i dosljedno promičemo dijalog, toleranciju i međusobno poštovanje, te da branimo principe međunarodnog prava, multilateralizma i ljudskih prava. Danas iz Sarajeva, grada koji je svjedočio i početku Prvog svjetskog rata, kao i najdužoj opsadi u modernoj istoriji, ali i ponovnom rađanju nade i solidarnosti, šaljemo jasnu poruku. Mir nije samo odsustvo rata, nego i postojanje pravde, povjerenja i poštivanja međunarodnih normi. Duboko vjerujem da je dijalog između kultura, religija i naroda najvažniji alat u prevenciji sukoba. Zato pozdravljamo napore svih međunarodnih partnera i organizacija, uključujući Ujedinjene nacije, u očuvanju međunarodnog poretka zasnovanog na pravilima u odbrani ljudskog dostojanstva, suvereniteta i jednakih prava svih država i naroda. Bosna i Hercegovina ostaje čvrsto opredjeljena za mir, saradnju i europske vrijednosti. Nastavit ćemo da djelujemo kao glas razuma i pomirenja, posebno u vremenu kada svijet ponovo traži načine da poveže ono što je podijeljeno. Posebno cijenimo što je ova globalna inicijativa nakon svog početka u Gerniki u Španiji sada stigla u Sarajevo. Dvije istorijske tačke, Gernika i Sarajevo, spojene su zajedničkom porukom da sjećanje na ratne tragedije može i mora postati pokretač za mir. Dame i gospodo, naš zajednički zadatak je da osiguramo da današnji poziv na mir ne ostane samo izjava, nego konkretan proces koji podstiče odgovornost, solidarnost i zajedničko djelovanje. Sarajevo, grad u kojem su različitosti bogatstvo, a dijalog tradicija, danas ponovo stoji kao svjetionik mira, razumijevanja i zajedničkog ljudskog dostojanstva. Zahvaljujem se i svima vama koji svojim prisustvom dajete dodatnu snagu ovoj inicijativi i neka današnji dan i sarajevski poziv na mir budu inspiracija svima nama da gradimo svijet za buduće generacije u kojem će dijalog zamijeniti sukob, razumijevanje nadvladati predrasude, a međunarodno pravo biti temelj globalne pravde. Želim vam još jednom svima iskrenu dobrodošlicu u Sarajevo, glavni grad Bosne i Hercegovine, i od srca se svima još jednom zahvaljujem što ste ovdje danas sa nama.
Extend my gratitude for your presence in this room today.
Hvala ministru Konakoviću.
Thank
A
you,
danas mi je čast da predstavim i vizionara ove inicijative, neumornog zagovarača globalnog mira i dijaloga, njegovu ekscelenciju gospodina Miguela Angela Moratinosa. On je podsekretar Ujedinjenih nacija, visoki predstavnik Saveza civilizacije Ujedinjenih nacija i specijalni izaslanik UN-a za borbu protiv islamofobije. Molim vas da pozdravimo jednim aplausom.
Dobar dan. Excellency Mayor of Sarajevo, Mr. Samir Abdić, Minister of Foreign Affairs, my dear friend, Mr. Dino Konaković, my dear colleague, Secretary General of Relations for Peace, Dr. Francis Curia, my dear colleague, my friend, and the Mufti of Sarajevo, Excellencies, Zlatko, I cannot forget you, dear friends, peace-loving friends. Welcome to the second round of our common initiative, a call for peace end of war and respect of international law. It is a great privilege to be back in Sarajevo, a historical city shaped by diverse cultural relations, forged its unique and precious character as a multicultural and multi-religious city. Yesterday I discovered, thanks to the guide, that you have the multicultural man, the Man for Liberty, in the main square of Sarajevo. Multicultural man, trying to figure out, the sphere of the world. And the concept of convivencia, the Spanish word, living together, has always prevailed throughout history in the beautiful capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. We launched last April this initiative in Guernica, a town which, like Sarajevo, suffered the horror of war and crisis. And I'm honored to salute the mayor of Guernica, José María Gorroño. Thank you. Gracias, alcalde, por estar aquí con nosotros. My dear friends, Guernica was one of the first cities that was bombed, where civilians were targeted, bombed and killed, just because they were civilians, just because the Nazis wanted to create horror, despair, and destruction. Our great painter Pablo Picasso portrayed the tragedy on a canvas in the famous Guernica painting, where he also included a candle that represents a beacon of hope for all humanity. Some statistics say that during the siege of Sarajevo, almost 14,000 people were killed and 5,344 were citizens, civilians. This should have not happened. Added to this dramatic situation in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina was in a cruel war in his whole territory that culminated with the horrific genocide in Srebrenica. This past July, the 11th of July, I had the honor of participating in the commemoration of the 30th anniversary, and it was an unforgettable day for me, an unforgettable moment of remembrance and pain. How do human beings allow this descent to hell to happen? My dear friends, a week ago, Robert Badinter, lawyer and French politician, Minister of Justice of President Mitterrand, was inducted in the French Pantheon in a ceremony where France wanted to pay tribute to a man who fought and won a battle in favor of the abolition of the death penalty. Yes, a battle that began 1 century ago when the French writer Victor Hugo, when he was a member of the parliament of the French National Assembly, proclaimed the wish to abolish the death penalty. When Robert Badinter concluded his historical speech in the French parliament, when he got the vote to abolish the capital punishment, he pronounced these words, and I quote, "La justice française ne sera plus une justice qui tue. The French justice won't kill anymore, never." It was what Robert Badinter achieved in the framework of national justice. And I ask myself, why cannot we achieve the same for the international justice? We should ask ourselves, what happened to the millions of civilians who are killed for no reason? They are not criminals. They have not been arrested. They have not been judged. They have not been sentenced. They are killed just because they are mere civilians, just because the so-called collateral damage of war. But there is no such issue of collateral damage, just crimes. We should ask ourselves, are the 83% of Palestinian civilians killed in Gaza just a result of collateral damage? The only crime they committed was trying to live with dignity and justice. Yes, it's time as we as humanity call to stop the horror. As Badinter did and say, la justice mondiale ne tue plus, the global justice doesn't kill anyone anymore. This is the reason for our initiative. We are at the beginning. We are in a long battle for peace. But the only battle, as Albert Camus used to say, that is worth to fight. Unfortunately, we are not sufficiently heard. Let's be frank. Generally, they consider our people, this initiative, like an utopia. We are not heard because the lobby for war is stronger and has more power and influence than the lobby for peace. So for that reason, we should create a lobby for peace. We should mobilize all the main stakeholders, the private sector, the civil society, and the media. How many international funds exist today to finance war? And how many exist to support peace? Could we ask some of them to finance a little bit for the peace effort? I'm going to write to them to try to get their support. Last Monday, a great day in the Middle East. The guns and bombs were silenced in Gaza, and the Israeli hostages could go back home, thank God. Yes, to stop the war is always a victory for all of us. But we cannot leave the future of peace only in the hands of leaders, even as powerful they are. We need everybody to get engaged and involved. I remember a quotation that was proclaimed at the time of President Arafat and Prime Minister Rabin. When they shook hands in Washington lawn in September 1993, people qualified that the peace of the brave. And I remember I wrote an article at that time myself, and I said, yes, welcome the peace of the brave, but we should work for the peace of the people. So it's what we need today, the peace of the people. We don't have peace just declaring it. Action needs to follow, real action for real lasting peace. My dear friend, humanity must stand together and call for a better world and end this logic of war. We have the example of some positive testimonies. The mayors of Guernica and Sarajevo today who have gathered in Guernica here in Sarajevo, and who knows how to keep the memory of the victim and war alive with respect and dignity. The proposal, I hope, of former Prime Minister of Greece, George Papandreou, to formalize this initiative for Olympic truth. The idea of former European Commissioner Dimitris Mavropoulos is with here to hold a mega conference in all cities in Athens and ask for peace. Or even yesterday we heard a young people from Mostar that have the courage to beat together the two communities. So everybody can have their own initiative. So we need the work of civil actors who work effortlessly to foster respect and understanding between the multiple religions and living together in these countries. That was the case of a prominent figure of your history, Costa Horman. And that is the reason why I want to conclude with a quote from Tugomir Alaupovic, a writer, a poet, and a professor in Sarajevo, who declared that Horman's words sought to, and I quote, extinguish the hatred between brothers and of the different religions, to foster mutual love, and to highlight the point we all have in common. That is precisely the motto of the United Nations Alliance of Civilization, many cultures, one humanity. My dear friend, it fills me with pride and hope to see this room full of people who believe in the same cause, peace. Because we need peace, but peace also needs us. Thank you very much. Fala puno.
Hvala na porukama I hvala
Thank
na
you
vašoj
for these
inicijativi da
messages
poziv
and
na
the
mir
initiative for the call for
Naš naredni
peace to
istaknuti govornik je
be
uvaženi
present in
globalni
our
lider I graditelj
city.
mira,
Our
Dr.
next
Francis Kurije,
speaker
generalni
is
sekretar
Dr.
organizacije
Francis
Herzegovina
Kurija,
mir I
General
suosnivač ove
Secretary
inicijative.
General of the Religions for Peace organization and the co-founder of this initiative.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Honorable Samil Averdict, Mayor of Sarajevo, Your Excellency, Honorable Emeldin Konavic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Your Excellency, my friend Miguel Moratinos, the Undersecretary General of United Nations, esteemed leaders, civil society colleagues, religious actors, seekers of peace and justice, warm greetings to you all. I stand here today heartened and filled with hope at our meeting yesterday, our 4 roundtables. I must express my heartfelt gratitude for the wisdom, unity, and unwavering commitment to peace that we witnessed during those roundtables. It was really, really heartening. We gather this morning in Vijećnica, the beautiful Sarajevo City Hall. This building was constructed over the course of 5 years, stood for a century, and was completely destroyed in just 1 day, on 25th August 1992, while your city was under siege. Then, over more than a decade, this space was painstakingly rebuilt brick by brick with love, care, and commitment. Many of you in this room were present for this space's tragic destruction as well as its resurrection. The fate of our gathering place illustrates the long and arduous process of building sustained peace. Often, peace is nurtured over decades, like this building was built over a decade or centuries, but destroyed in a moment. And for rebuilding, just as this building was built very slowly, peace is nurtured again very, very slowly. It is rebuilt very, very slowly. Standing before you today, I see this space as a physical reminder of what we can rebuild when we are firmly and truly committed to lasting peace. As we continue this powerful gathering, let us take a moment to reflect on the salient discussions that took place yesterday amongst religious leaders, women and youth representatives, and civil society leaders. Such dialogues reveal an undeniable truth about how we address the global cycles of violence that hinder efforts for reconciliation and peace building. Peace only prevails when we work together persistently, consistently, as one. Our convergence with faith actors, members of civil society, and the Sarajevo community members has uncovered the strength that our collective action can bring. Collective action. That the dialogue that was transpired at this gathering demonstrates the key role that collective action of diverse action plays in fostering societies for inclusion. When you work with everybody, you cause inclusion and you cause peace. But now we must turn our words into action. It is crucial that we take the conversation and insights shared here in Sarajevo and carry this movement forward into more action. We must act in a timely way in answering the voices of all, particularly from marginalized communities, which are calling for peace unity, and justice in order to secure a future of shared, sacred flourishing that lasts for generations. Religions for Peace stands with each of you as we move forward. And this we have done for over 50 years. Our mission has aligned with this call to end war and suffering of all people by building a peaceful and just society. Our work in promoting interfaith cooperation as a foundation of peace and justice reflects the need for dialogue, multi-religious collaboration, and mutual respect of everybody. There is still hope, as we have seen through the resilience of countries like Bosnia and Herzegovina, in surpassing division and violence so that we may move forward towards a place of unity, compassion, and understanding. Sadly, there are many wars continuing to plague our continent. We are happy and welcome the recent ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas with hope and relief. While fragile, it must be treated as a pivotal step towards laying the foundation for lasting peace. But we recall with sadness the continuing violence in Sudan, where more than 150,000 people have died and 1.5 million people have been displaced. We must recall the 600,000 people killed in Ethiopia recently. We must recall the 3.4 million people who have died in DRC in the last few years. These are sad realities that we must come to peace with. In living here today, let us unite and embody the legacy of Sarajevo, an outstanding example of the power that embracing diversity, dialogue, and persistent in seeking change can bring, even when confronting global conflicts and powerful forces. Thank you for your dedication, courage, and commitment to building a future rooted in peace. But most importantly, moving together in peace, rooted in forgiveness and mercy. This region can move forward if we root our peace in the ethical virtues of forgiveness and mercy that are rooted in the sacred, that are rooted in the divine. May we continue this journey with renewed hope and a united spirit to foster a shift in the global narrative that lasts for generations to come. Let us all join for this call for peace, end of war, and respect for international law. And let us all work for a shared, sacred flourishing of all. Thank you, and may peace be with you all.
Hvala vam. A sada pozivam
Thank you. I now kindly invite the Mufti of Sarajevo, Nejad Grabus, member of the Assembly of the Interreligious Council of Bosnia and Herzegovina and co-chairman of the Religions for Peace, to address us.
Your Excellency, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Your Excellency, Minister of Foreign.
Konakovic, Your Excellency, Mayor of Sarajevo, Mr. Samir Avdic, Your Excellency, Ambassador to the United Nations of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Mr. Zlatko Lagumdžija, Your Excellency, dear my friend, Mr. Moratinos, Dr. Correa, distinguished ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. I want to greet you all and express our gratitude for your participation in an important event for Sarajevo and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thanks to UN Alliance of Civilization, Religions for Peace, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the City of Sarajevo, and Interreligious Council in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in the past 2 days we had great discussions on issues of peace, respect for international law, and calls for the end of the wars and conflicts in the world. Sarajevo has moral credibility and obligation to talk about the mentioned topics. We are all encouraged by the cessation of the killings of the people in Gaza and truly hope that peace will be maintained. We call for the end of the conflict in Ukraine and everywhere else in the world. Cities such as Sarajevo, Guernica, Hiroshima have a link in great suffering, but also the ability to develop and be symbols of peace. In this part of Sarajevo, in the Old Town, municipality of Old Town of Sarajevo, all religious communities and churches in Bosnia and Herzegovina are located. The Islamic community, the Catholic Church, the Serbian Orthodox Church, and the Jewish community. Everyone lives in their freedom and dignity. Such events are the vision of great people. His Excellency, Mr. Miguel Moratino, supports people around the world in building peace, interreligious dialogue, and respect for diversity. So he is our ambassador of peace. He is ambassador for peace. An effective dialogue has its principles on which it can succeed, but without people of dialogue, people committed to dialogue, there can be no success and peace among people. Thank you, Mr. Moratinos, for helping Sarajevo show the world that is a city with an open heart and a place of peaceful coexistence of people of different religious beliefs. We are glad that this program includes the organization Religions for Peace, which has been supporting the work of the Interreligious Council in Bosnia and Herzegovina for years. Your Excellency, Dr. Francis Curia, we believe that your experience from Sarajevo will be important in your work around the world with people of different national and religious identities. Religions for Peace has a very important role in connecting people around the world on ethical principles, respect for religious and human rights, and the constant struggle for the dignity of human life. The Interreligious Council in Bosnia and Herzegovina was the first major success in establishing cooperation between religious communities and churches in the period from 1992 to 1996. Many mosques, churches, and other religious buildings were destroyed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thanks to the great efforts of religious communities and state authorities, most religious buildings have been restored. We call on the authorities to immediately issue building permits without conditions for all religious sites, mosques, churches, and other buildings that were demolished during that period and have not yet been built or renovated. We invite all participants in public debates and on internet platforms to respect the religious rights of people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, to respect the multi-religious identity of our country, to refrain from statements that spread religious hatred, call for violence, or disrespect religious buildings, symbols, and people of different faith. Sarajevo was and must remain an example of common life. In many countries with developed democracy, with advanced democracy in Europe, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism are on the rise. Every generation of people has its own challenges. Our challenges are how to preserve religion away from violence and abuse in a global world full of violence. In Islamic teachings, God is peace. He gives us peace. Peace starts within the individual and spread into the society. Therefore, the only true religiosity is one that is peaceful and spreading peace. Violence is destroying the essence of religion. Therefore, violence is the greatest enemy of religion. The community has a great responsibility in education and raising people in faith and spreading the idea of respecting different beliefs. To conclude, we call for peace, respect for the international law, and the end of the wars in the world. Thank you for your attention.
Ms. Angel Spence, UN Resident Coordinator in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Minister Konakovic, Mayor Avdic, Undersecretary General Moratinos, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to take part in this ceremony as we celebrate the values of peace, dialogue and international cooperation. This year, as you all know, marks 30 years since the Dayton Peace Agreement and 30 years of peace in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That reminds us that peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of justice, dialogue and respect for the rule of law. Over 3 decades, the people of this country worked tirelessly to rebuild communities, strengthen institutions, and embrace diversity. So Bosnia and Herzegovina's story is one of resilience and courage and the pursuit of reconciliation. So I'm still a newcomer in this country. I'm about 6 weeks into my tenure as the resident coordinator of the United Nations to this country. And I have huge respect for the work that has been done over the decades to rebuild trust after the extremely traumatic war that happened here. And I also have respect for the time that it takes and the effort that it takes from all layers and segments of society to rebuild that trust. And I'd like to pay tribute not least to all the work done by civil society to bring about trust and also reparations. Not least, if you look at the women who suffered under the war, who are survivors of conflict-related sexual violence, it has taken decades of work to make sure that they are offered the reparations that they are entitled to. And I really want to thank civil society, UN Women who's here, for their effort in that regard. It's part of the healing process of society and it can't be overlooked. Of course, at the level of the United Nations, we are also very active on Bosnia and Herzegovina. I want to recognize the ambassador who I had an excellent meeting with this morning, as well as Undersecretary General Moratinos, for the work and the government of Bosnia and Herzegovina in bringing about the Srebrenica resolution. It's incredibly important in terms of establishing the truth, the legally defined truth of what happened in Srebrenica. Only based on that truth can we have hope of building the bridge towards reconciliation. So, as the United Nations in Bosnia and Herzegovina, we are proud to accompany the country on this journey by supporting human rights, fostering social cohesion, and upholding international law. I'd also like to mention the centrality of education in bringing about reconciliation. We know that this is a society that unfortunately has experienced intergenerational trauma, which means that we need to continue working very systematically and inclusively with young people, and to try to make sure that the way that history is taught is based on facts and based on evidence, as opposed to divisive versions of what happened during the war. So this is a piece of work that we are also engaged in as the United Nations. I'm very proud of, and I think it's actually fundamental to addressing the root causes of the continued divisions that we know are present in the society. We recognize that peace is not static. It requires constant care, dialogue, and engagement of all sectors. The Alliance of Civilizations and Religions for Peace embody this spirit. You remind us that bridges of understanding can be built across cultures, faiths, and nations. It's been so inspiring over the last couple of days also to have exchanges with Francis Curia as the Secretary General of Religions for Peace, because you have such an immense ability to mobilize also among religious leaders of the world. And we've had such inspiring conversations about how the religious leaders, not only inside Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also in the regions, can be, and I'm sure they are already, but further encouraged to embrace this agenda of reconciliation and peace, because we need the voices, and we need the unity that they can bring. So today, as we reflect on 30 years of peace, let us also recommit to the global call for dialogue, tolerance and respect for international law. Let Bosnia and Herzegovina experience to inspire us to champion peace, confront division, and value diversity as a source of strength, not division. Thank you very much.
Hvala još jednom i prije nego nastavimo sa narednim govornicima.
Thank you. Before we continue with the special address, please enjoy Professor Leila Jusic and her intervention.
Hvala. A sada vas molim da jednim aplauzom pozdravimo i našeg narednog govornika, to je državnik čije su vizije i liderstvo oblikovali savremeni evropski dijalog i saradnju. Njegova ekscelencija gospodin George Andreas Papandreou, bivši premijer
His Excellency Mr. George Andreas Papandreou, former Prime Minister of Greece.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear Minister, dear Miguel, Dr. Curia, dear Zlatko, dear mayors of Sarajevo and Guernica, citizens of trauma, of courage and of hope, dobar dan, dragi prijatelji Sarajeva. In recent weeks, I have heard worried voices from here in Sarajevo. Are we going to have another war? But my message is clear. When we speak of peace and war, we must remember it is not destiny, it is a choice. And it is time to choose peace. Let me start with a story. The first anti-war book ever written was by Homer, the Iliad. It begins with one word: rage, anger. A war fought for the beauty of a woman, for pride and power, but leaving behind death, grief, rape, blood, and ruin. For generations, ancient Greeks, children read this story until they understood. These were not heroes, but reckless, immature leaders. So the ancients imagined a different way, a system grounded in dialogue, not violence. They called it democracy. In democracy, we argue passionately, but we respect each voice, seek understanding, and find consensus. Peace and democracy were and are inseparable. The Greeks also created another institution, the Olympic Games, for peace. Indeed, history gives us two enduring symbols. On the one side, the Olympic Games, born from areti, the pursuit of excellence and harmony. Competition was not to destroy the opponent, but to honor their achievement. Peace among cities, the Olympic truce, was sacred for over 1,000 years, the longest peace agreement in human history. The Olympics were not just a sport. They were a pedagogy, an education for citizens in respecting the rule of law, dignity, and self-discipline. On the other side, we have, contrasting, the Roman arena, a theater of domination and cruelty, where your death was my pleasure, where the crowd forgot its humanity, where those who were fighting were competing for the favor of the emperor, awaiting the emperor's verdict. He would decide, thumbs up, thumbs down. Does it remind us of something we do every day? One celebrated the rule of law, the other the law of the strong. So today, once again, humanity must decide which legacy will guide our world. And here in Sarajevo, a city that has known both the Olympic flame and the horror of war, this question is not abstract. In 1984, the world came together here under the banner of peace and sport. The mountains of Bjelaznica and Jahorina, Kosovo Stadium and Zetra Hall echoed with laughter of athletes and cheers of unity. The Olympic spirit lived here, bright and strong. Yet only 10 years later, the arena returned. Sarajevo, once the stage of friendship among nations, became the symbol of suffering and division. But even in that darkness, the Olympic flame flickered again. During the 1994 Lillehammer Games, the United Nations and the IOC under Samarang revived the ancient Olympic truce, Akechiria. For one day, guns went silent. UN forces opened a corridor, thousands of children were vaccinated, and food reached families for the first time in months. For 24 hours, humanity triumphed. That one day of peace, that small light in immense darkness, proved that amid war, compassion is possible. It was a lesson for all time. And when we seek to renew, as Miguel was telling earlier, to renew for the globe at all Olympic Games, next will be in Milano Cortina. We in the Balkans have lived both symbols, the harmony of the Olympics and the cruelty of the arena. Too often, we were pawns in other people's games, other people's and other powers' games, also fighting for the favor of the powerful, some emperor, some empire, seeking protection from outside, a geopolitical big brother, only to dominate our neighbor. I know that as a Greek. When we were liberated from the Ottoman Empire, we had three parties in the parliament. One was called the British Party, the other was called the French Party, and the third was called the Russian Party. We needed to build a Greek party, actually. But the time for being spectacles or pawns in someone else's arena has passed. My hope is that through tragedy we have matured. Through division we have learned the price of hate. Through the costs of war and the profit of the military industries, we have learned that there are other priorities in our societies of health and climate and education. And that we need to use our amazing technologies from AI to quantum for the public good, or otherwise, with the power we have, we too easily will destroy each other's and our own civilizations. Through pain, we have discovered the meaning of peace. Our dignity here in the Balkans cannot be granted by others, and we must resist those who preach hatred and claim the backing of some greater power. Years ago, as president of the Socialist International, I took the difficult decision to expel Milorad Dodik, not out of anger, but to defend principles, because democracy, solidarity, and dialogue are the foundations of cooperation, not domination. When we uphold human rights, the rule of law, and democracy, we do not weaken our sovereignty, we make it real. When I became foreign minister during a time of crisis with Turkey, my neighbor, I reached out. I did not start accusing, which would be easy. We found common ground. After earthquake struck both of our nations, we helped each other. People met again. Businesses, women's group, youth, local governments, even athletes. A peace of the peoples, as Miguel called for. Together with my counterpart, Ismail Cem, we launched a campaign linked to the 2004 Olympic Games, a global call for peace through the Olympic truce. We signed a document and got leaders from every continent to sign. Arafat and Perez, Iran and Saudi Arabia, European Union, US, China, and Russia, even Nelson Mandela. It proved when former foes unite, their strength multiplies. And that is what the Balkans can and must do. A Balkans that no longer fights for outside protectors. A Balkans that embraces European values not as foreign impositions, but as shared aspirations, a dream from Rigas Fereos to our own generations today. A region that celebrates its diversity as a treasure, not a threat. And do not forget, but forgive. Do not forget, but forgive, as Mr. Curia has said. And do so respecting each other as equals. As Aristotle taught, happiness, eudaimonia, is found not in domination or revenge, but in virtue, in justice, in friendship. But our region, because of our history, carries a special moral responsibility. We can and must show today, when global tensions and war is rising, that peace is not weakness, it is strength, that democracy is not chaos, it is dignity, that respect for diversity and the rule of law is not naive, it is civilization itself. A few days ago, Bosnia mourned a great voice, Halid Beslik. Tens of thousands gathered, I hear, crossing ethnic and religious lines, mourning together. Maybe he was symbolizing a different Bosnia and Herzegovina, a land of respect and normalcy and shared humanity. So let us reject the demagogues who build walls of fear and mistrust, who promise greatness through exclusion, who say they defend our special identities and our nations, but end up simply expropriating our resources through corruption. Instead, let us build a Europe and a world that values every voice, every community, every culture as part of a greater humanity. So that's why this meeting is so important. Dear Miguel, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, and all the religious leaders gathered here, it's a message to the world. Whether we're here in Sarajevo or in Gaza or Sudan or Ukraine, history again presents us with these two enduring symbols and challenges. We must decide. Let us remember Guernica, but both of Sarajevo's Olympic Games, the joy of '84, the courage of '94, one reveals the beauty of human development, of human achievement, the other the power of human compassion. They remind us, even in the darkest hour, the spirit of peace can still shine. Will we build a world of rule of the powerful, or one where our values and our rights are the rule? Will we return to the arena or to the spirit of the Olympic flame? So let us choose wisely, let us choose peace, and build a future worthy of the best in us all. Thank you very much.
Hvala još jednom. A danas imamo čast da među nama pozdravimo uvažene goste i zagovarače mira iz različitih sfera života i različitih dijelova svijeta. Molim vas da mi se pridružite u srdačnoj dobrodošlici koju ćemo poželjeti gospodinu Jose Mariju Goronju, gradonačelniku Guernike, grada čija historija nosi snažnu poruku mira i sjećanja. On je doputovao iz Guernike kako bi se danas u Sarajevu pridružio i nastavio misiju poziva na mir.
Egunon, eta eskerrik asko gonbidapenagatik ekitaldi honetara. Buenos días y muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you,
alcalde de la ciudad de Sarajevo,
Mr. Samir Avdic, Mayor of Sarajevo. Thank you, Mr. Moratinos, Undersecretary and the High Representative of the Alliance. Thank you, Dr. Curia. Thank you, esteemed Minister, Mr. Papandreou. Thank you all. Thank you for the invitation to this event, where we are supposed to defend what is the most precious thing for all of us, namely life itself. I have recently heard on a TV program that a gentleman from Palestine said that everything material in his life was vanished, but he still had reason to live and to respect democratic principles mean living in a world without violence. We cannot tolerate having violence in our society. And we cannot live in pain, fear, and divisions. Without agreement, without respect, without plurality, democracy must be enhanced, and it is enhanced whenever we are able to overcome our differences, to reconcile our differences through dialogue and respect for life. To live democracy means being opposed to wars without hatred, because a word is more powerful than a bullet, and we must find a way. All of us, free countries, must find a way to oppose wars. We are here in a city that suffered a lot, that was reborn again, and we can say here that the peace is not only absence of war, but rather everyday harmony, coexistence, and having a living memory of what happened, having a living peace as a way of life. We must tell people that they have to learn to have respect and must never agree to violence. We should not repeat mistakes from the past, and we must do everything we can to prevent the pain and to affirm peace and human rights. We must not live in the shadow of hatred. We must spread love, especially for our new generations. All the peoples must be able to live free of fear, and we must strengthen democratic processes, democratic institutions, justice,
generaciones que protejan la vida con
and the
convicción, que
generations
comprendan
that protect life must know that death can never be the way towards any goal,
porque la palabra, el respeto
because the
y la
word
empatía
respect
son los
and
verdaderos
empathy
instrumentos de
are
transformación
the
social.
true
El diálogo
instruments of
es la única vía
transforming
legítima
our lives.
para resolver
We must
nuestros
find
conflictos.
a legitimate
Las
and legal
tragedias
way
y el dolor de la guerra
of solving our
aquí en Sarajevo
conflicts.
o en
And
cualquier
the
rincón
tragedy
del mundo
and pain of
deben
Sarajevo or
convertirse
any
en
other
voces de
city
esperanza,
in the world must
pactos
be
de
transformed
humanidad,
into the
en
voice of
gestos
hope,
que unan en lugar de
into
dividir.
a
Defender la democracia
humane
es defender la paz.
pact. To
Defender la
defend
paz
democracy
es defender
means
la dignidad humana.
defending
Y
peace,
hacerlo aquí,
and to
en
defend
Sarajevo,
peace
es
means
recordar que
defending
la paz
human
no se hereda,
dignity. And it
se
is
construye
quite
cada día
clear in
con
Sarajevo
memoria,
that
con justicia
peace is
y
not
con amor.
something that's
Muchas gracias.
inherited, but something that is created every single day with goodwill and love. Thank you.
Hvala još jednom. Ističući ulogu sporta kao sredstvo za izgradnju mira, sada pozivam i pozdravljam gospodina Denisa Agovića, profesionalnog FIBA 3x3 košarkaša i strastvenog zagovarača inkluzije u sportu.
Who is FIBA 3x3 professional athlete, and he is a sports inclusion advocate.
Još jedan aplauz.
Please, another round of applause.
Uvažene
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before I start my speech, what you have seen is, in fact, a consequence of cerebral paralysis. And I am here in front of you as the first professional basketball player who managed to become a precedent in the world of sports. My desire to be an athlete made me achieve at this moment that I am representing my country and myself in the FIBA 3x3. If you don't know, 3x3 is an Olympic sport. So it's a precedent and a historical fact that now is also something that marks Sarajevo. I had a speech prepared, but now that I stand here in the city hall, the heart of Sarajevo, I decided to ignore my speech, and I will be speaking from my heart. In Sarajevo, everything comes from the heart. I am here as a boy who had a dream during war in Sarajevo. And a boy who has achieved something that is amazing and who had a role model, Mirza Delibasic. Mirza Delibasic achieved in basketball things that at one point were unimaginable. So I wanted to share with you that my condition is something that I was born with. But my desire to be an athlete and my desire to become a professional basketball led me on this path. I stood up from my wheelchair, and I'm the first person with disability who achieved a professional athlete status, not in inclusive sports. I shared my talent with the Olympic medal winners. I demonstrated my talent to the entire world, and the world showed me full respect for everything that I have managed to achieve. So I am a professional athlete and a basketball player, and that made me understand the following. My biggest success is not the fact that I am now showing my talent, that I'm winning medals and tournaments, and that I'm able to compete with people who are better than me. They certainly are. My biggest obligation as an athlete is to use this role that I have been given by the World Basketball Association to promote Bosnia and Herzegovina and myself as an individual globally, to serve as an advocate of peace, of equal opportunities, and to try and open the doors to all of those other people who are dreaming their own dreams. Not all dreams will be made true, but this path on and this process of attaining them is something that develops us as people. And my message to you is that we all need to work on a platform that will enable all the children in the world to continue dreaming their dreams, so that no unexpected event, such as a conflict or a war, will prevent those children from achieving their dreams. War is not the absence of peace.
War
propagandna stvar
is
koja uništava
a
snove,
propaganda effort,
ne dopušta ljudima da ostvare svoj puni potencijal,
destroying the dreams of people, destroying the potential of people. And as an athlete, I am aware how important it is for us to be able to pursue our dreams. Therefore, I advocate in unison with all of you that we work towards the opportunities for all children to achieve their dreams. When you leave this beautiful room, this beautiful building, I want you to remember me, not as an athlete, not by my name and surname. I want you to remember me by this call for unison, and that all of you are welcome guests in our city. Whenever you walk the streets of this city, bear in mind that this is a city of peace, tolerance, and unity. Let's all share this message together in the world. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Denise, hvala ti što si danas sa nama.
Thank you,
I što
Denis,
si
for being
inspiracija.
here with us today and for
Sada vas
being an
molim da
inspiration
zajedno
for all of us.
pozdravimo
And
i
now
gospodina
let's
Martija
greet
Olivelija, promotora
Mr.
društvenih
Marti
inovacija i
Olivella,
predstavnika civilnog
the
života koji
promoter
nam
of
se obraća danas.
social innovation and representative of civil society. He's going to address us all. Thank you.
Estimats amics de Sarajevo,
dear friends,
en la construcció de la pau.
Brothers
Dear
and
friends of Sarajevo,
sisters,
brothers and sisters united in building peace. To stand here in this city that endured one of the longest and cruelest sieges in Europe reminds us of something essential. War is not destiny. War is a human decision, and what humans decide, humans can abolish. The genocide and ethnic cleansing are war crimes, but war itself is an abominable crime. War is a business for the few. War is based on lies. Peace is not only the absence of war, it's the absence of violence. But war is the mother of all violences. With half of the world's military defense spending, we could reduce and mitigate the current climate chaos and lessen the millions of deaths it causes. If we want to abolish war, we must first dismantle the myth of the just war. No war is just. Every war destroys lives, communities, and Earth itself. And it almost always causes more harm than it claims to prevent. The only justice that we can claim is the one of the defense without killing, protects without destroying, and heals without hatred. Yes, we have the right to defend ourselves, but let us learn and train to defend ourselves without killing. Defense does not have to mean weapons. it does not have to mean violence. We can protect people and communities in other ways, through civil resistance, non-violent disobedience, unarmed civilian protection, networks of support, and international solidarity. To abolish war, we must build real alternatives to army military defense. Today, that military defense is still called as a last resort, but last resort is, in truth, the failure of all the other resorts. 50 years ago, many of us young people were sent to prison for refusing military service in Spain. Now we reject weapons, armies, and war. Let's invest our energy, our creativity, and our public resources in non-violent civilian defense, defense that prevents, deters, and resists aggression without reproducing it. And yes, this also means demilitarizing our minds. Let's stop believing that security comes from armies or weapons or walls. True security grows from respect, cooperation, justice, and trust among peoples. This is why we invite you to take part in creating a global network of nonviolent self-defense groups in every neighborhood, every city, every country. There are small communities and movements trained to defend life and peace, to face conflict with courage and creativity, not with weapons. It is also worth recalling the words spoken 90 years ago by General Butler. War is a racket. War is a lie for profit. It creates a few multimillionaires at the cost of countless human lives. That is why we invite you to make a concrete act of coherence, to practice tax resistance to war and to military spending, and to redirect these funds to projects of nonviolent civilian self-defense and unarmed civilian international protection. Every euro diverted from war is a seed of peace planted in our shared conscience and a small act of courage. Yesterday, I listened to the prayers for peace of religion leaders. Please excommunicate the arms manufacturers and traffickers and the media, financial and political leaders who call for war. No war in the name of God. Sarajevo teaches us that even under fire, humanity can resist without hatred. Let's make possible again together for every country, every neighborhood, every heart. People of the world, let us unite against war lobby and make stronger the peace lobby. Because either we abolish weapons and war, or war is already abolishing us. Thank you. Mir y sloboda, peace and freedom, pau y libertad.
I dok nastavljamo dalje, pozivam vas još jednom da uživate u kratkom muzičkom osvrtu kao podsjetniku da muzika, baš kao i mir, ne poznaje granice i povezuje
Leila Jusić,
sve
music
nas.
knows no borders, just as peace knows no borders.
Bila je to profesorica i sopranistica Leila
Thank you,
Jusić, a
Professor
sada dolazimo
Leila
do dodjele
Jusić.
Mediteranske nagrade
We
za mir.
have come to the
Čast mi je da
moment where
pozovem
we
profesora
present the
Michele
Mediterranean
Capassa, osnivača
Award for
organizacije
Peace.
Sjedinjene
Professor
države svijeta
Michele
i Fondacije
Capasso,
Mediterano,
founder of the United States of the World and Fondazione Mediterrano, please take the floor.
Dobar dan. Vado a parlarle en español, querido Miguel. Quiero agradecer a mi fraternal amigo, querido Miguel Ángel Moratinos, por la invitación a participar a este importante evento por la paz.
Thank you to my friend who has invited me to take part in this very important event. Thank you to Mr. Samir Adic, the mayor of Sarajevo. Thank you to Mr. Elmedin Konakovic, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina. He showed me the entire city yesterday. Thank you to Mr. Ademovic and Denis Bečirović, and my particular thanks to the Ambassador, Ms. Amila Arifovic, and the Mediterranean Plenum for Peace, created in Sarajevo in 1995 in October. Predrag Matejević, Abdullah Sidran, Izet Sarajlić were among the first members, as well as my other brothers who have arrived from other Mediterranean countries. In the last 30 years, the Mediterranean Award evolved to be one of the most prestigious awards in the world. Over 600 people were presented with this award since then, and it constitutes one of the basic or key initiatives of our organization, and it is an honor to present it today. 141 countries are members to this organization,
que contiene los derechos y deberes de los habitantes de la planeta para salvaguardar la tierra y mantener la paz.
The interpreters apologize. There is a slight mix of Italian and Spanish. Our foundation
completa los reconocimientos celebrados el otro día con la presentación del libro Bosnia,
event
Diario de Guerra,
today,
y la entrega del Premio Mediterráneo Memoria en el Palacio de la Presidencia al Dr. Denis Bečirović.
Presenting
Ayer el Premio Mediterráneo se enriqueció con otra sección,
to Mr.
la
Denis
más importante,
Bečirović.
Madres.
The award was also presented to the mothers of Srebrenica yesterday, to Mrs. Munira Subasic.
Il premio forma parte integrante del programma MAIC.
This award is an integral part of a program of mothers that was started with the mothers of Srebrenica, and it shares their voices and their testimonies throughout the world. So we are trying to bring their testimonies to all corners of the world, because their dignity and their power are of utmost importance. This sharing of the testimonies of trauma is important to be heard everywhere in the world, and we are making space for them to do so. Their suffering is thereby acknowledged globally. Peace is a daily compromise that we are to safeguard, and
sono stato in questo palazzo 5 giorni dopo l'incendio e ho assistito a un
I will say something in the language of my heart.
La vista di questo palazzo bruciato ha cambiato la mia vita, che da quel momento è stata dedicata soprattutto a questo vostro paese, che per me è il mio secondo paese. Pido all'alcalde Audic,
I feel like in my second homeland. Now, allow me to present the award.
Snašli smo se.
Mediterranean Peace Award Special Edition 2025, awarded to City of Sarajevo. The city of Sarajevo is a city of dialogue and represents the value of coexistence, which can be summed up in two words: living together. The city, wounded by the longest siege in European history, is today an example of different people can live together anywhere in the world. In this city, identity have never been confused, but there is profound unity in the yearning for peace that is the root of every religion and peaceful coexistence. For this reason, the United States of the world and the Fondazione Mediterraneo confer on City of Sarajevo the Mediterranean Award for Peace Special Edition 2025.
Hvala profesoru Kapasu, a zamolit ćemo
Thank you, Professor
gradonačelnika da
Kapasa.
ostane na bini.
Please, the mayor, could you stay here
Kako
on
bi
the
uručili na
stage?
zahvalnosti i prijateljstva našeg grada,
Because
njegove
we are to
ekscelenciji,
award a
gospodinu Miguelu
token
Angelu
or a
Martinez.
certificate of appreciation of the city of Sarajevo to His Excellency Miguel Angel Moratinos.
Hvala vam. A few words. Thank you.
Well, again, thanks very much. I think now we are going to conclude, no?
Tak,
Event.
yes.
It's a time for expressing our gratitude, our thanks, of course, to our host, the mayor, the foreign minister, the UN resident coordinator, all your team, the youth, the people of Sarajevo, and this beautiful, place that mean a lot for me. I have modestly contributed to the rebuilding when I was foreign minister of Spain. So when I see the reference of the King of Spain, I feel, very much grateful for what you have done. So we come to an end of this second round of our common initiative of call for peace and the war and respect of international law. We have concluded with a strong message, a message that is going to be part of our final statement, final declaration. The spirit of Sarajevo. The spirit of Sarajevo that's going to prevail. The spirit of Sarajevo that has been expressed today, yesterday in the round tables of the religious leader was fantastic, my friend, to see all the religious leaders. Very strong message. I think these messages have to be diffused, disseminated to so many places. The Interreligious Council is an example, and I think Dr. Curia has taken good note of that. So thank you also, my friend, Mr. Curia, for being with us in this itinerary. The women, the young people, I saw some of them, our friend from Mostar, that have innovative ideas, and he will continue to work on that. And today we have a fantastic intervention. Of course, the most moving and most touching was our dear basket pledger. We are in a country of basket pledger, And of course, with great personalities like Dimitri Avramopoulos and our dear friend, former Prime Minister George Papandreou. Giorgio, thank you for bringing back to the history in order to realize what we are in present and how we can build in the future. Yes, there is no will be always for peace, you know. So we are going to end it up with this strong message from Sarajevo. I think we have a statement. It's a bit long, so I don't want to continue this and take your time of Saturday. You will receive. I think we are going to distribute. We are going to be using it as the guideline for us for the future. But our itinerary is not going to end in Sarajevo. We started in Guernica, querido alcalde. We have the great success demonstrated here in Sarajevo, and the next stop will be Beirut, hopefully in April. And then we have Angola, we have Bogota, we have, of course, the Japanese cities that suffered a tremendous nuclear bomb. We still have a lot of work. But at the end of the day, I think what we have succeeded in Sarajevo is a common engagement to really believe in peace, as everybody says. It's true that in all our statements, it's not only the absence of war. We all know that. It's not the absence of war. In fact, it's that. But we need more than that. Yesterday, in one of the round tables, say, we don't like a negative peace. Okay, we all like positive peace. But if you don't have peace, even if it's negative, you cannot start to engage in a warm peace. And so with the warm hospitality of Sarajevo, the warm ideas, with the warm project, and thank you for giving us this warm peace that we felt. And that's, my dear Mayor, I will keep it with very close to my heart. You know how much I've been related to Bosnia and Herzegovina, to Sarajevo. It was for me very emotional to be back these days, bringing back memories. At the same time, seeing how the city is growing, developing, looking to the future with optimism. Society is strong, people are strong, people believe in peace in the future. So thank you very much, and let's meet again. You are all invited to come with us to Beirut. Thank you.
I evo nas na kraju, dakle, završne ceremonije Call for Peace. Prije nego što ustanemo da se osvježimo, ja vas pozivam sve učesnike na zajedničko fotografisanje tu kod ste.
Before I invite you for refreshments, please let's take a family photo.
A sve ostale da nam se pridruže na osvježenju. Hvala još jednom i do novih susreta. Ugodan ostatak dana.
I invite you for refreshments and a cocktail, and everyone else, please have a pleasant rest of the day.
Pa nekih vodi protokol.